She severely damaged him. I believe her less than ever. I actually disbelieve her fully now.
Blake Lively recently showed how reckless and desperate she appears through her revised complaint.
The bully, she was the one harassing him,
including further unfounded claims targeting Justin Baldoni.
She alleges that she's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd.
She is now angry that he rejected her allegations, acting as though he was expected to admit to actions he says he never committed, and rather than stepping back, she continues repeating claims he strongly disputes.
This person is not an honest broker.
A-list actress Blake Lively has just moments ago filed her amended lawsuit against Justin Baldoni.
Let's be honest. Blake Lively appears focused on shaping the public narrative as if it were an award-winning performance she may never receive. On February 18, 2025, she filed an amended complaint, expanding her case to 163 pages and adding new allegations, which critics question as significant revelations or simply another effort to maintain attention and influence ongoing public perception overall.
She's alleged sexual harassment against him, plus a smear campaign. He's countered that she made up the allegations to take control of the movie, accusing her and her husband of extortion and defamation.
Before diving into specifics, it is useful to identify the central figures in this unfolding dispute. Blake Lively, who describes herself as the aggrieved party, brought a lawsuit that observers note seemed to intensify after she assumed control over film.
Now she wants a complete gag order. Now he needs to be shut down to protect her. This is very unfair to poor Blake.
Justin Baldoni, the accused party, has faced sexual harassment allegations that emerged at a time some commentators have described as notable, though such claims remain matters of dispute and are part of an ongoing legal and public process.
The Oxygen consumer is suing Justin Baldoni for a money judgment representing compensatory damages, including consequential damages, lost wages, earning, and all other sums of money, together with interest on these amounts in an amount to be proven at trial.
Ryan Reynolds, often seen publicly supporting his wife, has been viewed by some as playing a visible role in responding to the controversy, while Jay Wallace, a crisis management professional, has also been mentioned in connection with the situation, as discussions continue over whether public criticism stems from coordinated efforts or from broader reactions to the dispute.
The addition now of Jed Wallace and Street Relations, his company.
Judge Louis Lyman, tasked with overseeing the case, is navigating a highly chaotic legal situation, attempting to manage proceedings fairly amid what many describe as a courtroom spectacle.
First cause of action, sexual harassment. Second cause of action, retaliation. Third cause of action, sexual harassment in blah, 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 another one of those. Fourth cause of action, another retaliation claim.
And the big question remains, is Blake Lively truly a victim, or is this just another strategic Hollywood maneuver aimed at undermining Baldoni and cementing her own influence? Interestingly, right after gaining creative control of the film, she suddenly claimed that Baldoni had sexually harassed her and fostered a hostile work environment, not before production, not during filming, but only after she held all the power. Convenient timing, to say the least.
The uncredited director of It Ends With Us is suing Baldoni for attorney's fees and costs incurred by Miss Lively. Okay.
And now, because a single lawsuit wasn't dramatic enough, she's amended her complaint to claim that other women on set also felt uncomfortable. But here's the twist. Not a single one of them has stepped forward to confirm her allegations.
Forced to confront women he had made uncomfortable on his own set. Uh-oh. She said, women, plural.
And I don't know about you, but if someone's behavior were truly that alarming, wouldn't at least one person speak up publicly? Instead, it's just Blake recounting what she says other women told her privately, as if we're supposed to take her word as gospel, like she's the ultimate authority on truth and justice.
The up-and-coming wardrobe stylist is demanding a jury trial on all causes of action triable by jury.
And because she's not content with going after Baldoni alone, she's now adding a brand new defamation claim against Jay Wallace and his company. To be clear, Blake Lively is upset that people are calling out her claims, so rather than facing criticism, she's suing more people. At this point, it feels like she's turning half of Hollywood into her personal lawsuit hobby.
All other sums of money together with interest on these amounts in an amount to be proven at trial. For an award of money judgment for mental pain and anguish and severe, serious emotional distress.
Now let's talk about the real hypocrisy, because it's messy. Baldoni's legal team didn't just sit back. They released actual text messages between him and Lively that completely undermine her victim story. And these messages? Pure self-sabotage. One shows Lively sending flirty, playful, even bold messages, never aggressive or fearful. That's not the tone of someone scared for their safety. That's the tone of someone who's clearly flirting.
Sixth cause of action, failure to investigate, prevent, and/or remedy harassment. Seventh cause of action, aiding and abetting harassment and retaliation in violation of the FEHA.
Then there's another message where she literally tells Baldoni, "You're safe here." So suddenly, it's a hostile work environment, but back then he was supposedly safe? The contradictions are glaring. And it gets worse. There's actual behind-the-scenes footage, and trust me, it does nothing to support Lively's claims.
Eighth cause of action, breach of contract, actor loan-out agreement. Ninth cause of action, breach of contract, contract writer agreement. 10th cause of action, intentional infliction of emotional distress.
In the footage, instead of appearing upset or even slightly uncomfortable, Lively is laughing, joking, and breaking character. Yes, the same woman who now claims she was sexually harassed is on video laughing hysterically, teasing Baldoni about his nose, and cracking jokes about body makeup.
She could start to rehabilitate her reputation, which got smeared because she turned out to be not a very nice person in the videos released last.
That is not the behavior of someone who is suffering. That is the behavior of someone who felt at ease, having fun, and treating the set like her personal playground.
11th cause of action, negligence, infliction of emotional distress. 12th cause of action, false light invasion of privacy. 13th cause of action, sexual harassment.
And yet, now that she has the final cut of the film and has sidelined Baldoni, suddenly everything is unbearable. It's honestly giving Amber Heard vibes. After years of no complaints, she's transformed into the ultimate villain in a story she wasn't even part of.
Right at the very top, the former keeper of dragons says, amended complaint for sexual harassment, retaliation, breach of contract, false light, defamation, and other claims. I'm excited to see what the other claims are.
And let's not forget, Justin Baldoni didn't just sit back. He came out swinging with a lawsuit of his own, targeting Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and even the New York Times for defamation and career sabotage. Honestly, if this were just any random person, Hollywood would have chewed him up and spat him out by now. But Baldoni is fighting back, and his team is bringing the receipts.
Baldoni and Heath's attorney deny the claims, calling them completely false, outrageous, and intentionally salacious with an intent to publicly hurt and rehash a narrative in the.
And speaking of receipts, let's talk about Blake Lively's so-called elite squad. According to Baldoni's lawsuit, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift were allegedly pressuring him to go along with Lively's script rewrites.
She was referred to as some kind of pet or possession. Taylor shouldn't even be involved in this at all. She was only going over to visit Blake and Ryan with the understanding that the meeting would be over.
And Lively even compared them to dragons, calling them gorgeous monsters who would protect anyone she's defending. Honestly, that's straight-up mob boss energy. She's literally name-dropping some of Hollywood's biggest A-listers to intimidate her co-star.
Baldoni was Miss Lively's boss. We all know who the real boss was, though.
Imagine being so self-absorbed that you compare yourself to a Game of Thrones queen controlling dragons, when in reality, you're just an overrated actress trying to strong-arm a director out of his own movie. This isn't about justice or a hostile work environment. It's about power, control, and PR manipulation. Blake Lively wants the public to think she's fighting for justice, when really, she's just fighting for headlines.
Literally, there are 15 causes of action that the Nepo baby is claiming against Baldoni and the Baldoni party.
The text messages alone demolish her case. The behind-the-scenes footage directly contradicts her story, and the timing of this lawsuit is so obviously suspicious, it's surprising anyone takes it seriously. Let's be real. Blake Lively is acting like a helpless victim, when in reality, she's one of the most powerful women in Hollywood, backed by A-listers, a PR powerhouse husband, and media outlets practically eating out of her hand. And yet she expects us to believe she's the underdog.
14th cause of action, sexual harassment. 14th cause of action, defamation, defamation per se. And 15th cause of action, civil conspiracy.
No, Blake, you're not the underdog. You're just another privileged celebrity using the court system to settle a personal grudge. And if Baldoni were truly the monster you claim, you wouldn't need to twist the truth to make your case. But here we are, and we're not buying it.
An egotistical bully. And she was such a brat that she wanted to control every scene, wanted to see all the dailies, wanted to do her own cut and did her own cut of the movie. All this is very unusual for just an actress in the film.
Justin Baldoni did not remain passive in response to Blake Lively's actions. Instead, he filed a lawsuit of his own, disputing her claims and alleging defamation and damage to his career. In contrast to Lively's public narrative and high-profile support system, Baldoni's legal strategy centers on what his team describes as documented evidence and communications they believe support his position. His countersuit names Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and the New York Times, arguing that their actions and coverage contributed to reputational and professional harm. From his perspective, this is not merely a defense, but a significant legal escalation, reflecting how both sides are now engaged in a broad and highly public dispute over credibility, influence, and the interpretation of events.
Any further leaks that they have, because the truth should be out there. What does she have to fear if she's telling the truth?
Baldoni's lawsuit makes it crystal clear. According to his team, Lively aimed to take control of the film, and when she couldn't get her way, she allegedly manufactured harassment claims to push him out. And before any Lively defenders start complaining, here's the breakdown. She had no issues with Baldoni until she gained creative control. Once in charge, he suddenly became a terrifying, inappropriate monster who made her and other unnamed women uncomfortable.
He had unconsciously been hurting and silencing the women in his life and implored men to be man enough to shut the hell up and listen to women.
Except, conveniently, none of these women have come forward publicly. That's where Baldoni's biggest evidence drop hits hardest. He didn't just deny the allegations, he released receipts that completely dismantle Lively's narrative. First, previously unseen text messages surfaced, showing a very different story than the victim sob tale Lively is trying to sell. One text she sent to Baldoni is flirty, playful, and reads like it came from best friends, not someone claiming harassment.
He claimed that he wanted to end toxic masculinity, acknowledging his own toxic behavior by admitting that there is a woman or two that I, in some way, made uncomfortable by saying something or doing something that was chauvinistic or sexist.
Then there's the behind-the-scenes footage, which is just chef's kiss for completely wrecking her credibility. In the clips, she's laughing, joking, and even teasing Baldoni about his nose, all while claiming in her lawsuit that she was deeply uncomfortable on set. But it gets worse. Baldoni's team published a fully documented timeline on a public website, showing exactly how Lively went from co-star to full-blown dictator over the film. The site details how she gradually pushed Baldoni out of decision-making, used her Hollywood connections to pressure him into accepting her rewrites, and how her harassment claims only appeared after she gained creative control. This isn't a harassment case. It's a power-hungry celebrity hijacking a film and then playing the victim when things didn't go entirely her way.
Says, it smells good, and she says, it's my body makeup. That's her big harassment moment. They are playfully acting for the camera, trying to make it look like two lovers, two people in a relationship, are dancing with one another.
But Lively didn't just rely on legal maneuvers to get her way. Oh no. She had a full-blown celebrity army behind her. Let's break down how Blake Lively played the ultimate Hollywood power game. She wasn't acting alone. She had an extremely wealthy and influential support system handling the heavy lifting for her. And who better to help strong-arm someone through Hollywood than Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift? According to Baldoni's legal team, Lively used her A-list friends to intimidate and pressure him into accepting her script rewrites. And before you think that's an exaggeration, her own messages speak for themselves. Once again, Lively essentially incriminated herself.
Friends also think that Blake's "I'm Khaleesi and like her, I happen to have dragons" text to Justin was uncool and unnecessary.
In a text to Baldoni, she literally referred to Ryan and Taylor as her dragons, saying, "I happen to have a few dragons, for better or worse, but usually for better because my dragons also protect those I fight for." So really, we all benefit from these gorgeous monsters of mine. You'll too, I can promise you. Did Blake just threaten Baldoni with two of the most influential celebrities in the world? Because that's exactly how it reads.
She backing out here, very carefully worded back out, because she's smart. Okay? Taylor Swift is very smart. She is media savvy.
Baldoni was already under pressure, and now he's getting messages from Lively subtly reminding him that she has a billionaire pop star and one of Hollywood's biggest actors in her corner. That's not just intimidation. That's a power move straight out of a mob movie. So the question becomes, did Blake Lively weaponize her celebrity circle to try to ruin Baldoni's career?
This person is not an honest broker. I believe her less than ever. I actually disbelieve her fully now.
The timing couldn't be more suspicious. Right after Baldoni didn't fully go along with Lively's vision, suddenly she's rewriting history, claiming she was uncomfortable the entire time and calling in her celebrity reinforcements to control the narrative. She wanted full creative control, and when she didn't get it, she made Baldoni the villain. And it doesn't stop there. Blake Lively isn't just going after Baldoni's reputation. She's also trying to dig up dirt in the most desperate way possible.
She wants a complete gag order. Now he needs to be shut down to protect her. This is very unfair to poor Blake.
Her team even issued subpoenas to AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, and Cloudflare. Why? Because they wanted Baldoni's phone records. This is where it's clear Lively is grasping at straws. Instead of proving her own claims, she's digging through Baldoni's entire digital history, hoping to find something incriminating. It's called a fishing expedition when you don't have real evidence, so you just search for anything that might help. And Baldoni's lawyers didn't stay quiet. They immediately slammed the subpoenas as massively overreaching, basically saying if she truly had a case, she wouldn't need to go scavenging through private messages. But that's what happens when you lie for attention. The truth eventually catches up.
Why should Justin be able to release snippets to the media without the full context? That's what she said. That's what she did. She alleges that she's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd.
And speaking of attention seekers, the judge is clearly getting fed up with the circus. Judge Louis Lyman is tired of both sides turning his courtroom into a Hollywood soap opera. He even had to warn Lively's legal team that if they keep playing out this battle in the media, he'll fast-track the trial just to silence them. Because, let's be real, Blake Lively doesn't actually want justice. She wants a PR spectacle. She wants to control the narrative, play the victim, and ensure Baldoni is publicly ruined long before this ever reaches a courtroom.
Allegations have fallen apart, and her "I was not really a bully, I was just targeted" allegations have fallen apart. And now he's going full Johnny Depp on her to show that she was the bully, she was the one harassing him.
If this were really about justice, she'd let the evidence speak for itself. But the evidence doesn't back her up. So now she's grasping for headlines, digging through phone records, and hiding behind her celebrity friends. This isn't a legal case. It's a Hollywood takedown strategy, and honestly, it's unraveling in real time. Blake Lively thought she was playing 4D chess, but all she's done is reveal herself as the manipulative, power-hungry fraud she truly is. At this point, it's clear she's throwing lawsuits around like Oprah handing out free cars, except instead of gifts, she's dishing out baseless accusations and PR nightmares, and now she's dragged Jay Wallace into her self-inflicted disaster.
So, her lawsuit says that Street Relations is a California corporation, and I believe that is incorrect. It's my understanding that Jed Wallace is based out of Texas, and so is his company, Street Relations.
Blake, in her infinite wisdom, decided that losing her battle against Baldoni wasn't enough. She needed a new villain to blame for her downfall. Enter Jay Wallace, a crisis management expert whom Lively claimed was secretly running an online smear campaign against her. Because, of course, in Blake Lively's world, she's never just unpopular. There's always some grand conspiracy working against her. But here's the twist. Wallace didn't just take the hit, he fought back. Instead of rolling over like she expected, he filed a $7 million defamation lawsuit against her, and honestly, he has every reason to be furious. Blake isn't destroying his reputation. She's now facing a massive case that could blow up in her face. And speaking of explosions, let's pause to admire how chaotic this entire legal disaster has become. This mess has layers. On December 31st, 2024, Lively kicks off her revenge tour by filing the first lawsuit against Baldoni, acting like she just remembered she was traumatized. By January 7th, 2025, she serves Baldoni's team with legal documents while they were literally evacuating their homes during the Los Angeles wildfires. Next-level psychotic behavior. Blake, have you considered that maybe you're the villain here? On January 21st, 2025, she tries to go after Jay Wallace in Texas with no proof, proving once again that her legal strategy is sue first, figure out facts later. By February 18th, 2025, realizing her case is crumbling, she amends the lawsuit, tacking on defamation claims and brand new accusations out of nowhere.
Retaliatory. All of his leaks to the media are retaliatory and asking the court to shut him and Brian Friedman up, saying this must be shut down because they're trying to try this case in the...
March 5th, 2025, Blake must submit her final amended complaint, her last chance to Frankenstein together a case that even remotely makes sense. March 20th, 2025, Lively and Ryan Reynolds try to dodge Baldoni's countersuit by filing a motion to dismiss it entirely because, of course, they don't actually want to face the consequences of their own actions. March 29th, 2026, the trial finally begins, assuming Blake doesn't manufacture another scandal or discover a new target to sue in the meantime.
Clearly cooperated with the New York Times to leak the whole thing. Indeed, that's, Brian argues, the reason she went and filed the complaint with the Human Rights Division, so that she could then leak it to the Times, so she could start to rehabilitate her reputation, which got smeared because she turned out to be not a very nice person.
Now, let's be real. Looking at this timeline, it's painfully obvious that the whole thing reads like a massive Hollywood hit job, carefully timed and executed to damage Baldoni's career. But instead of sticking to a single story, Blake keeps shifting her accusations, dragging new people into the mix, and rewriting her own history to fit whatever victim narrative she's peddling this week. At this point, her own words and actions contradict her claims so badly she'd lose a debate with a brick wall. Baldoni's counterattack has completely dismantled her lawsuit. He's released text messages, footage, and behind-the-scenes evidence that expose her as dishonest. She claims Baldoni made her uncomfortable, yet her own texts show her flirting with him.
He came in my trailer while I was breastfeeding. Well, then he produced the text messages showing her saying, "I'm breastfeeding, come on over." She, like, time and time again, she accuses him of doing something, which then when you hear the full context is an absolute nothing.
She says she felt uncomfortable, while available footage and messages are being interpreted very differently by the opposing side. She describes harassment. His team argues the interactions looked friendly and professional. She claims there was a smear effort. They say the lawsuits themselves are damaging their reputations. At this point, it's less a clear moral story and more a full-blown credibility war, with both sides accusing the other of manipulating the narrative. And then there's the Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift angle. Lively's critics point to her powerful circle and public influence, while her supporters say having famous friends doesn't invalidate someone's claims. When she referred to them as her dragons, some saw it as playful language. Others saw it as symbolic of the imbalance of power in the dispute. Either way, it highlights the central tension. This isn't just a legal fight, It's a battle over perception, influence, and who the public chooses to believe.
It was referred to as some kind of pet or possession. Taylor shouldn't even be involved in this at all. She was only going over to visit Blake and Ryan with the understanding that the meeting would be over.
This isn't really about justice. It's about power, control, and securing the final cut of the film and the last word in the industry. Baldoni wasn't the central villain. He was simply standing in the way of Lively's quest for control. Subscribe now for the full story behind Hollywood's biggest scandals. No sugarcoating, just sharp analysis, raw facts, and unfiltered breakdowns.